Hello everyone, and yeah, little hard to Taiwan. Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about something quite serious because it's about legal issues in Taiwan, and I think it's very important for everyone to know before they come to Taiwan what they can expect and what is the culture and also the risk they can have with the justice. It's a tough subject, but I think today we're going to learn a lot and hopefully it will be super useful for everyone. So, Russ, I will let you introduce yourself briefly.
All right. Hi, my name's Ross Cline, and I'm from Canada, New Brunswick, the East Coast, just beside Maine, USA. And I moved to Taiwan in 2009 and opened a school by City Hall in Taichung.
Okay, so and it was in 2009, you say, right?
Yes,
Okay, and so you were an English teacher. You also have a website for teaching English. Is that correct?
rosskline.com, CLINE, and ilearn.tw, which was the name of the company in Taiwan, hence .tw. Besides City Hall in 2009, it was legit and legal. And I was on top of the world at 28 years old, running my own little school, and I felt pretty special. And after building life there for 15 years, if anyone told me my whole life would be over,
Yeah, it is very crazy. So
incredible.
you started your own school. That was
Yep.
how did you think about Taiwan before you came to you came here in Canada? Did you have
Well,
friends already in Taiwan, or how did you come to the idea?
yeah, it used to be at 18 for the summer to teach English. And this was with the HSR instruction. And so the bosses, one of them was the owner of the cement company, Yili Miaoli. And so I would say they had some serious contracts at that time. It was just glory days. So I left and felt pretty big because I was after first year university. What did you do during the summer? Well, I was an English teacher. Wow. So I felt pretty big and my ego was pretty big.
Mm.
And then back and it wasn't the same. Then lived in Toronto for 5 years and Germany for a year and a half and decided to open a school in 2009, late 2009 in
Mm.
Taichung, Taiwan. And that's what I did.
So it's great. I
That's just a
feel
little rundown.
yeah, I feel also for myself that Taiwan has had a lot of opportunities that I could not have back in Europe.
Yeah.
So okay, so then you have your school, you run your school, everything is doing well, and then you start a renting contract. Is it like that?
Well, yeah, basically what happened after the first 13 years of location by the City Hall, cram school was opening next door. And they were using a jackhammer only when I had classes. And it was a pretty dirty, rotten trick. And in hindsight, I wish I knew
Oh,
now. I knew then what I know now. I would have never have said to my landlord, hey, I can't teach because no one can hear me over the jackhammer.
mm,
That
mm,
only
mm,
is
mm.
I'm telling them specifically not to jackhammer. This is sabotage. You need to help me. But in hindsight, don't do that. Just go to the court, get a legal notice for the people disrupting your business and say you're going to sue them, and leave the landlord the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I no. And so the landlord was like, I'm changing my mind. I don't want you around. You're in too much trouble. And so I had to move in a hurry. And I wanted to because there was literally a jackhammer that came right through my bedroom wall.
Okay, okay, okay.
And so I found a place, and it was the school of my dreams, but it was a clear scam from the start.
Mm.
It was designed to want to move out by myself, and they keep the deposit of $200,000
Is-
Taiwan dollars.
So is that common? Have you heard of other? Because I've heard that sort of similar cases in China, but in Taiwan not too much. Do you think it's something that
Yeah.
happens still a lot?
You mean a landlord scam?
I mean, this specific case of sabotaging your business.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. And I was right across from I was across the street from the police station and the Environmental Protection Agency, which is responsible for noise and things like that. I can remember going to their office with young children crying, with tears coming up children's eyes, crying that the noise was so loud. And I couldn't, of course, do business there. And the clientele, of course, were slowly dwindling. And it was really awful that even the people at the big police station there on Weixinlu and Taiwan Dadao, the big police station is still there, but it's not in functionality the way it used to be because, you know, everything's changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty dirty, rotten tricks but that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's not the main story for today. But you said you should have sued them instead of going to the police, right?
No, what I should have done, and I'll just give this as advice to anyone. A landlord in Taiwan is not a landlord like a landlord in a normal place is. They literally are God level. So if you say anything that makes them have to do anything, how dare you?
Yeah.
They're renting that to you for a much cheaper price. It's not covering their mortgage. They're hoping to hold on to it and make $1 million in 4 months because these are the high rollers that they are. So if you're troubling them with, well, I'm paying you to rent here and I can't do my business here and you need to do something about it, that's not okay.
Yeah.
You need to go to the file a lawsuit against who's bothering you and leave your landlord the hell out of it. Because if you bring the landlord in any capacity, you're now out as soon as they can get you out because they have why would you want a tenant that's causing you anything?
No, it's true. It's true. And I've heard that a lot is the landlords, or basically in the culture in Taiwan is you buy a property, so you rent it and then you never have to work again or do anything. And if you call them for a plumbing problem, AC problem, they hate it. They hate it. They call it the mafan. They don't want the mafan, right? Okay.
No, and if you rent a business front and you make your business beautiful, it's been known. I know the Orgasmo. There's a bar in Taichung. I watched move to like 8 different locations over the 15 years I was there, and the owner is such a good guy. And he knows me from way back, but I can remember him giving me the card when I walked in saying, we're moving again because the landlord walked in here and said, we really made the place look nice, so he's doubling the rent.
Oh, yeah. The rent increase, I think it's extremely common, if not automatical. It's something that...
Don't make your place look too good or the rent's going to go up and it's your fault.
Yeah, that's another common one. Okay, so let's go into the substance for today. So what brought you actually to leave Taiwan, right?
Yeah. Well, I moved in a hurry. I found a place that would be, for lack of a better description, the school of my dreams. You know, the sliding glass door, big glass front, Dadun 5th Street. There used to be a foreign-owned electric scooter company there before GoGro, right? When GoGro was just... But anyways, I think it was from Italy. But I'm not sure on that. But it was from somewhere in Europe. And in hindsight, sorry to trail off, but I believe that they screwed over the European business that was there. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get to my story. So it looked like they were renting to foreigners because they knew that a foreigner couldn't really do much about the scam. And the idea was get him in here, take his deposit, and have him want to leave all by himself so we can keep that deposit. And that's why I call it the landlord scam. At rosscline.com/scam and ilearn.tw/scam. You can see all the videos, the TVBS footage, the 2 Taipei Times articles, and soon CHCO.TV International News will be covering it. Thank you for bringing it to the light of day.
So you think that from day one they just wanted your deposit, and
it was a scam. It was a scam, as clear as the nose on your face from day one. But I was in no position to see it. And hindsight's 2020. It was the beginning of COVID. I needed to move out of where I was in a hurry.
Yeah.
I found a place. Oh no, give her the benefit of the doubt. It's not a scam. She's not real. Oh, give her the benefit of the doubt. Oh my God, she's suing me. For what? I shared a rental contract that she clearly broke and leaving me with no door that locks.
Okay. So let's go back to let's try to have the succession of events in order. So you see this new building that you really want to rent. It fits your needs. So you signed a rental contract. Yeah. And then I suppose you bring all your stuff for your school. You start to teach in the school. Yeah.
And make the school and have to borrow $100,000 to make this move. It's an upgrade.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then, when is the bad news?
And then, aside from having them show up unannounced and come sort of for the confetti, I guess I was doing this, so I thought. Aside from how's this one? Anyways, aside from having them show up unannounced on a few occasions, what happened was, and that's illegal, by the way. You can't just show up to a person's house and go in it unannounced. I started to realize this wasn't really my place, wasn't it? I had a garage, I call it the garage door, the big metal gate. You know what I'm talking about? Well, that was fixed. And when it got fixed, it broke and fell down on CCTV, almost killing whoever might be under it. TV BS words, not mine.
Okay.
My friend was luckily not killed, and it was over a ton of weight because it was a very wide door. And then I didn't have a door that went up and down. I only had a sliding glass door that you could just pull open. And all my stuff, and expected to live there for 5 years with no window blinds, sun shining and ruining all my speakers and all my gear. You need to have the gate.
Yeah.
That was part of the deal.
Yeah. And this is the responsibility of the landlord to fix in...
Point number 5 on the contract, which is why I shared the contract.
Okay. So you're in so let me sum it up. So you're in disagreement with the landlord at this stage, and you decided to publish the contract online to seek advice.
Yeah, it's in Chinese. I didn't even realize it had personal information that was illegal to share until 2 days later, because guess who saw it? She did. It was a scam. She knew I'd be sharing it because, of course, a foreigner's going to share his damn rental contract when you screw him like this. I mean, duh, what would you do? And so she used that, and I would say paid off some judges. I'd say there's some judges that are going to lose their seats when I bring this to the light of day because it's obvious collaboration and corruption to the tune of, sorry.
Yeah. No. For the people who haven't read the story, because I did, but I think some of the audience haven't. So you published you shared this contract online publicly, and then she sues you for displaying her private information. But what is the private information in the contract, except maybe her address?
Yep. That's a criminal offense in Taiwan.
That you would not know if you have never encountered such a case. Yeah.
There's no disclosure clause. There should be no problem sharing the damn contract in any normal sense of the idea. But in Taiwan, apparently, if you're a foreigner, we're going to ignore the fear and duress rule We're going to ignore the 5 witnesses, and we're going to ignore the TV evidence, the likes of which was on national news on 2 channels, maybe 3, I forget.
Yeah.
And we're just going to penalize for this crime to the point where he's got 6 months in jail for not being remorseful. And this is where, I'm sorry if I'm speaking too much, but this is where it gets really interesting. As if ruining my life over 4 years, and I don't have a son, but there is a 7-year-old boy I've raised. It's not my blood child that I miss very much. This is a human right violation all day long. To ruin someone's life, now a child's life that's living in Taiwan with his father and everything. But we raised him basically together. I mean, he's a big part of my life. I don't have any children of my own, but damn it, this is cruel, man.
It's very sad. It's very sad.
It's awful. I can't tell you what a big shock it is. But anyways, they sent me an official court document when I was writing to the Taiwan president. And guess what? The court document said it was in March of this year. So I've been in Canada January, February, March, trying to get it on the TV, telling Taiwan judiciary, telling Taiwan email addresses about these things, saying, please help. They sent me a document that says, you caused no harm, had no malice or ill intent. Essentially, it said you did nothing wrong. It was a 4-page document. I can show it to you. It's on the website. Neither did we. Therefore, you have to go to jail for 6 months, not 2, because you weren't remorseful for doing nothing wrong. In one guy, I'm like, oh my God, this is like, what the hell is this? This is called arbitrary punishment, people.
Yeah. Let me just go back a little bit, because maybe you're going too fast for some people who don't know anything about Taiwan. There might be some people listening to us considering coming, and we also have to tell them that in most of the cases that it's not going to happen to you, right? It's kind of an exception, but it's a terrible one. It's life ruining, because I've been also working on my business in Taiwan for 11 years now, and if I know that I can have some kind of event like this, and then I can be thrown out of Taiwan, and then I will lose everything. So that's terrible. It's very good to know beforehand. And so just to go back a little bit in time, so you receive a letter noticing that you're being sued, or is it the landlord telling you?
Yeah, but I used to, for the first 2 years of this hellish battle.
Yeah.
I was more upset with, and sort of my anger was more directed toward the landlord.
Yeah.
But at this point, I have no problem with the landlord at all. You can't hold her accountable for being able to use the judiciary as a weapon like this against a foreigner and not be angry at the Taiwan judiciary.
Yeah. So
obviously, it's the judiciary that needs a little mending, not the landlord.
I think that, but what is, the positive in the story is that so you go to trial, and then they give you a jail sentence, which is very extreme.
6 months.
Yeah.
Or arbitrary. Their words, not mine. They're basically unapologetically telling me in the document I got in March.
Yeah.
We're doing this arbitrarily against the ICCRP Articles 9 and Articles 26 that we signed ceremoniously because we're just a rogue province off China. But F you stupid foreigner, we're going to do you in anyways because there's nothing anyone cares to do about it because we're not part of the Commonwealth. And we really are a rogue province, F you style. And that's basically what happened to me. And I'm like, oh my God. If I knew I was that vulnerable in Taiwan all these 15 years, I'd have got out a long time ago and never invested much of a business there to begin with.
Yeah.
I just never knew that it was that savage is the word.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish this my worst enemy, this legal nightmare.
Yes. I understand. And so so you go to trial and you get the sentence, And then you still have the opportunity to fly back to Canada out of Taiwan and not do the jail time.
2 days
Wow.
after the plane took off, they were looking for me and have blocked me from leaving. I was lucky.
Oh. Yeah.
I just made.
So it's not, because
could have-
I've heard of
sorry.
other cases where people have been able to fly away from the country. But usually it's not the case. Usually just right after your trial, you cannot leave the territory.
Yeah, because it's a criminal offense,
Mm.
but the gears in motion, because it's such a stupid offense that
Yeah.
Sharon was for 2 days, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I would say that had something to do with it not being closed the gates on him leaving. He's a danger to society if we don't hold him here, you know. But yes, and they gave me the option of doing a year's worth of teaching English for free, 5 a week, or 6 months of jail.
That's
But
pretty
I mean,
weird.
how am I going to make my life again if I'm working 5 days a week? I think it was 5 or 6 days a week for free. Full
That's-
days. So
That's pretty bad. That's pretty
without
bad.
labor.
And so,
I mean, because I shared a rental car, arbitrary.
yeah. And so,
The definition.
yeah, before, like, so the next thing for you to do is to try to, oh, and that leads to a question. I'm going to sidetrack a little bit, but so it's the first interview you do, like in this kind of setting, with the telling about your story?
With you today,
Yeah.
you and me today is the first interview I've ever done that might see the light of day. I hope it does, because I'm just sorry the video quality is not fantastic. But it's the first time I've spoken about it as well since that March letter. That to me, you can't just ignore this, Taiwan government. Your own words. And I
Yeah.
got a lot of proof you've ruined my life for 4 years, and you owe me some serious compensation if you're going to rectify that.
Yeah. I think that.
It's not like I don't ruin anything, you know.
Yeah, I really, like me and you, people who've been in Taiwan for such a long time, and now we call it home. It's easy to say that we love Taiwan and we only want to improve it, if anything. So yeah, I really hope that some of the, and that's probably the first thing to change within Taiwan, is because there is also a, how you call it, if you're a foreigner, it's very easy for you to be targeted, and it's very hard to win any kind of trial in Taiwan against Taiwanese people. Can you say that?
I want to tell you something that you're doing right now that I'm humbled by. Because I was in Taichung, Taiwan with my own business. I felt very invincible and on top of the world. And when I would hear stories of different foreigners being thrown under the proverbial bus, I might be quick to say, yeah, well, I guess they kind of deserve to get out of here anyway.
Yeah.
And now see you taking the time as an established foreigner who's been there for 10 plus years and not doing that. And I'm humbled by it. And I thank you for your time doing this with me. I'm growing from this experience enough to realize, wow, how humbling. Because you're doing something right now, giving me the time of day, being curious, looking into things, hearing things that I never did when I was there. And I feel like a horse's ass for being such a jerk and not.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like, because my business is growing, and now I want it to grow also, and I see myself in Taiwan for another 10 years, 20 years, I don't know. So it's kind of stressful. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, finger crossed. I can tell you another story. Yeah, just yesterday I met a friend of mine in the bus, and he tells me that all his bank accounts have been closed or suspended because someone reported him for fraud. So he sold a surfboard for 1,000 NT, so 30 US, 30 bucks. And the person was not happy with the quality of the board, and so instead of saying anything, he just reported him for fraud. And then all his accounts have been blocked. So not only just one, but all of them. And there's not much he can do. And he still doesn't know if he's going to be able to use bank accounts in Taiwan. He's been here 20 years also, or 15.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't mention this earlier when I was on the tirade of how unfair and arbitrarily punishment it was. But I do need to mention this. In the first year of legal court hearing bullshit, for lack of a more politically correct way to put it, because that's all it was, I remember having a state-appointed legal aid lawyer who was probably just a clerk. And she told me that the landlord can take my money at any time from my personal, maybe, or company bank account indefinitely until she's got her $500,000 that she sued me for hurting her feelings when I dared show the rental contract. A mere mortal like myself. So that happened to me too, where they're allowed to take it to my bank account. And my friend and this is a legitimate, me telling you the story is not just hearsay. I mean, he's one of my best friends. I'm sure he wasn't lying. He had parking tickets he lived in Hsinchu for the first 7 years. Then he moved to Taichung. The parking tickets from Hsinchu he didn't even know about haunted him 6 years later. He realized there was over 10 grand missing from his bank account, and that's what it was. So be careful. Your money's not safe in a Taiwan bank. If they, for any reason, want to come and dip in, they can. And that's not okay.
Yeah. I had, so there's another thing I wanted to share also is, because it happened to me once, is if you're being sued over money, you cannot leave Taiwan until the matter is resolved. So if I sue you for, let's say, I would go to the police and report that you stole 1,000 NT from me. Then we start I start to sue you, and then you cannot leave the territory of Taiwan. You'll be arrested at the airport if you want to leave. And the worst is that sometimes you don't even know someone sued you.
Yeah. It's a bit out of control. And I heard, now that's a story that's hearsay to me. So I was being sued for money. I got out all right. Maybe I was just one of the lucky ones. So I can't agree nor disagree to the story. But to add to the story of arbitrary punishment, a friend of mine laughed one day. This was right after COVID or during the peak of it, when it was sort of the big, or the Holocaust, or whatever you want to call it. Someone was hoarding face masks at that time. They were very worried they run out of face masks. And it was in the newspaper. And he got 5 years in jail.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you're hoarding face masks. 5 years? This is insane.
Did he end up going to jail, or was he able to also fly?
I don't know. It was just a headline in the Taipei Times. Who knows, right? But it was just that running joke where you get 5 years in jail if you're caught smoking a little bit of dope, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even smoke dope, and I'm not really for it being legalized per se, but 5 years!
Yeah, I think people should be aware also if they come to Taiwan not to touch any illegal
oh, Lord Jesus. I mean, you're going to do some serious time for some very unserious time. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I hope we had enough time to cover everything. I think so. Is there anything you want to add? I just want to hope that tell you that I hope that everything goes through, and maybe you can write a book or do more interviews like this on bigger media.
Thank you. Soon, with the help of you, getting it to the light of day, which has been very challenging. Even the human rights groups in Taiwan won't touch it because, of course, they're bound by what their government allows them to tackle. And this is the obvious corruption right up. Everyone said, well, her husband's very rich, a.k.a. mafia. Like, let's call it a shovel.
Yeah.
That's what I was up against. So, of course, I wasn't very lucky. I got the wrong landlord. And if you'd like to know her name, her address, her phone number, I'm sure I'll be publishing it soon at rosscline.com/scam. And there's nothing she can do about it because I'm in Canada. I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm joking, but am I? And keep in touch. Keep yourself posted at ilearn.tw/scam.
Yeah.
rosscline.com. And the news, I'm going to be on the news tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to be aired. I'm in 2 Taipei Times articles. And that legal document that's clearly, unapologetically arbitrary punishment is right there for you to read yourself in the Chinese language. But put it in AI and see for yourself just exactly what it reads. And it says what it says. I'm sorry, but it says what it says. No ill intent, no malice, no harm done. But
Jail time. Yeah, let's hope things can change and improve for you and Taiwan.
Well, if they do, it's because of you. And I appreciate it so much for you taking the time.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you. All right. I will see you soon then. Bye, handshake.
Yeah.